In this video, we're going to be discussing Brad Maverick's recent hair transplant in a budget clinic in Turkey. Why did he choose the clinic he chose? Did he really need a hair transplant in the first place? And did he really need 2,400 grafts for his condition? This is all we will discuss in this video. Also, all the pros and cons connected to his hair restoration. I'm going to be looking at it as he was presenting it in his videos. Make sure you check out his channel as well if you want to get a better insight into his monthly updates. Before we start, as always, shout out to our sponsor GoFiber. These are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice and try them out. See if you like them. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Before, I just want to mention one thing. Brad Maverick, this is your video like 5-6 months ago where he didn't even have a hair transplant. He was already using minoxidil, probably didn't recover his hairline back to Norwood 1. Surprise, surprise. It's rarely doing unless you combine minoxidil with microneedling, with 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, and even then, not all the guys are able to recover these balding edges. So I know he was concerned about these. But also considering he's 25, he's a good-looking young man. You don't need to necessarily push it and get a hair transplant with 25. With that head of hair, with that ability to create volume on top. And I made a video on these types of guys who are like Norwood 1.5 to Norwood 3.5. You can watch it right here, where you can really own that receding hairline with confidence. And if I would be in his shoes, being 25, and my situation with 25 was way worse. I was Norwood 3.5. So unable to style my hair decently with a nice, style and making it look presentable. So I wouldn't do a hair transplant if I would be him. I would just keep using minoxidil, slowly added finasteride in a microdosed manner, topical or oral.
And I'm getting a hair transplant. You might be looking at my hair right now thinking, Brett, your hair is not even that bad. Why are you getting a freaking hair transplant? Well, I actually agree with you. I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder right now, and my hairline actually looks pretty good. But I assure you, it is not as good. It's just kind of like an optical illusion, I think.
Okay, so he's aware that many people will probably comment on it like, hey, bro, you don't need a hair transplant, don't get it. I think what happened here was actually that he had this longer hairstyle with a nice slick back and also volume on the sides, like really nice hair overall. But then he kind of decided to do a buzz cut for whatever reason. And always when you do a buzz cut, these edges, these corners, whatever recession you may have on the hairline will be more pronounced because you buzz it and you can actually notice the differences in densities. It may be diffusely thinning across the hairline and temples and corners, and it may be denser here. So you actually can get more insecure when you buzz it off. Also, if you're diffusely thinning, you actually can start noticing so much diffusion on the mid-scalp and crown you have never seen before, hadn't you done the buzz cut before.
The lighting. This is what my hair looks like on any normal day with normal lighting. As you can see, it's coming back quite a bit here.
Yeah, obviously. So yeah, he also noticing the recessions on the corners more obviously right now because he did the buzz cut. So he got kind of more self-conscious about it and he decided to, do a hair transplantation.
Pretty much desperate to get my hair back. But then out of the blue, this doctor named Dr. Sirkan Aging Clinic reached out to me and wanted to work with me and provide me with the hair transplant. So I figured it was a great opportunity and why not jump on that opportunity to get my freaking hairline back?
This decision, I guess, didn't come from him 100%. He was not probably thinking about hair transplant as much if the clinic actually hadn't reached out to him in the first place. And this is what I'm seeing with also other, influencers who have followings on Instagram, YouTube of 100,000s and more. Clinics from Turkey tend to reach out to them and offer them hair transplants for free, and they provide them with testimonials, YouTube clips, post-op videos, and create nice social media marketing that is actually cheaper than, paying advertisers like Google and Facebook to bring clients to the clinic.
Like, why wouldn't I want to look as good as possible, am I right? So after many meetings and a lot of thinking...
Yeah, his channel is also about kind of maximizing looks. You can check it out, guys. It's like, I help you become a Chad or something like that. That's his motto, helping guys become Chads. So I understand he wants to maximize his looks at that current age. Nothing wrong with that as long as you do it smart. Yeah, let's look at whether it had been done smart.
As you can see, I got the lines on my head where my hairline is going to be. Damn, I'm going to be looking so fresh.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is probably the last time you'll see me till afterwards.
Okay, I would not do temples. 25, looking like Brad here. You don't need temples, bro. Don't do this. Really, I would not recommend it. Most of you guys who watch my videos know the risks that can come with doing temples when you are 25 and when you are not on finasteride or any other 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, DHT blocker. Minoxidil won't be enough. You know, I don't like it, but yeah, the hairline on the hairline is nice, you know, hopefully it's gonna be done well, but I don't know, the temporal line is odd, and on the one side you can see the outline, and on the other side you cannot see it, so it's just on the left they decided to do the temples. Okay, harvesting via FUE, okay, it's done.
Kind of freaky. I know.
It's looking pretty densely packed. The hairline is looking nice, I like the shape.
It hurts actually quite a bit. Please. This is the day after the operation. That's how it looks from the front. I'll show you how it looks from the back if I can.
Okay, the donor looks like it's kind of diffusely spread, but I don't like that they went too high, quite high up, considering it was just first hair transplantation and they already kind of went beyond the safe donor zone, and we could consider this already being unsafe donor zone, anything higher from here. Because obviously some clients, maybe not Brad, but other guys may turn into Norwood 5s and 6 later on in life, and this hair that you can see in that range here is not going to be permanent, so it doesn't make sense to use so much of it during the first surgery where you put most of it on the hairline where you want it to remain permanently. So I would much rather just utilize, you know, this area first, considering it was just a minor surgery for a Norwood 2, not even. So why would you take so many from high up here? I don't know. Let's see. Also, they put just a little bit on the temples. They actually put hair on both temples, as you can see, a little bit. So we'll see how this is gonna look. I don't think he needed it, honestly. Probably didn't even put more than like 150 grafts there, maybe not even more than 100 per temple. And that's quite a lot. I mean, if you look at different cases with even different condition, like Brad had before, even different, like a similar type of hair, I would say, or you would claim. For example, this one from Dr. Raymond Conyor, who got only 1,328 grafts and was able to fill out these corners nicely without any work done on the temples. And I think that's more than Brad would have needed as well.
They told me over FaceTime that I would need about 1,400 grafts, and they ended up doing about 2,400, which is 1,000 more, and I'm just like a little bit nervous. I'm like, is that going to be too much? But
yeah, I think it is too much based on what we have already seen, and there are other examples like these that I'm seeing constantly where a Norwood 2, and Brad is not even like a super pronounced Norwood 2 if we look at him, at least the hairline looks super intact still, just the corners starting to go a little bit, so he's on the way of becoming like a clear Norwood 2, probably like 80-90% Norwood 2 he's right now. So for him to do 2,400 grafts, in my opinion, it was already graft wasting, and that could be a sign that the clinic otherwise wouldn't have been able to create a natural and dense result with just 1,500 or 1,600 as they, or 1,400 as they previously promised him. So why would I just increase it in 1,000 more? Obviously, it's going to be easier to create a denser result if you just overgraft, overcoat, and it just over densely pack. Some of that hair is going to die out because of the density may be too high, and some of these grafts may not take, but overall if you just implant more of them, overall always going to be higher chance that most of them will take and the result will look full. And by more expensive clinics that are charging maybe a price per graft, you cannot really afford to just oftentimes, you know, be promised 1,500 grafts and then be told that you need 1,000 more, because the 1,000 more will cost you oftentimes thousands of dollars more if you go to clinics that are charging like $2, $3, $4, $5 or more dollars per graft. Like, this is gonna be having like a vast influence on the overall price, because this clinic is also doing like from 10 plus patients per day. Maybe start thinking whether you are actually getting the same service if you are not an influencer like Brad. You are not the guy where they hope that your videos will get hundreds of thousands of views later. Obviously, if they know that before, they might think about maybe giving you a better service or giving you more experienced technicians. And although all of these technicians, even in their clinic in particular, go through the same training and they get, you know, the equal training, it's always like if they have 10 or 15 teams, it's impossible that all these teams will be equally experienced, because some of the teams, as the clinic keeps expanding, there are teams that come earlier, come later, and based on that, some teams will be just most experienced in that particular clinic. And if you are the lucky one, the generous one who has a channel, who has a following, you'll probably get assigned to the better team and most experienced team. Okay, so that's just my opinion. I think that's how also other clinics who are running like high patients per day volumes, they're working like that on that type of basis.
I'm just gonna have to go ahead and trust the doctors and trust the professionals. I guess they would know better than me, right?
Okay, so he said, let's just trust them. I hope they did a good job. Yeah, fair enough. So let's take a look what they actually did 4 months later. And now let's just switch to this video, his 4-month update. So again, as I mentioned here, they definitely danced back the hairline, the shape I like. The temples, I don't know what they did there, just sprinkled some hair here and there, but let's mainly observe the hairline. So we already see here that he's definitely having more straighter hairline. The temples are closed. It's looking more like squared off, and it's looking actually pretty full if we look at him from here. Now he's showing also the shock loss. He had some shock loss during the month 2 or 3, I guess, and on the right side he had actually more shock loss than on the left side, as you can see here. That's completely normal. It's never gonna be even. You can see here the left side didn't suffer so much shock loss, but the right side is more empty, and that's again totally normal. And then when you get new hair regrowth from the month 3 and more, then it's also not going to look perfectly even once that hair, it's going to try to come back. Okay, so let's see what was happening here, and this is a big surprise to me. It's unusual that you have so much hair regrowth after 3 months already, because this is 3 months, what you can see here, and we can see almost 45% regrowth already if we look at it, and that's quite unusual, because most of my clients, most of the people that send me photos online, I don't see such a great regrowth for 3 months. So that's definitely above average speed of getting new follicles kind of sprouting after the surgery. So he got a new nice haircut, looks pretty nice, neat and fresh, and then he starts, I think, giving some comments on his hairline.
Honestly say I'm very pleased with the results so far. I think it looks great. This is pretty much the hairline I wanted.
Okay, so he's happy with it. He likes the hairline, that's what he wanted, so that's great. That's most important, obviously.
Some people. So as you can see, it is kind of like growing in crazily. There's some curly ones, there's some bent ones, and this is just how it is when it regrows. They're like.
Also, the hair is darker. That's usually what's happening if you are blonde, fair hair, medium, light brown colored hair. The transplanted hair will be darker at first, then it's gonna even out after the first hair growth cycle. Will kind of switch again to the first to the telogen phase, and then the transplanted hair will be replaced by new hair, maybe after a year or 2 since your surgery, and then it's gonna look nicer, same pigment or close to same. It's gonna behave better. It's not gonna look so kinky and wiry and curly, and it's gonna look more natural in terms of the structure. In terms of direction and angles, may not be the case. If the angles and direction on the hairline are maybe too high, unnatural, that's gonna still look unnatural. But as long as technically everything has been done correctly during the surgery, the hair is gonna, mature and look very similar to the existing hair. It's gonna blend nicely, maybe a year or 2 later.
Like new hairs, they're coming out. They haven't really assimilated to your scalp yet.
Yeah, assimilated, that's a good word, thank you. Yeah, they will assimilate better after a year or 2.
Supposedly over time they will kind of start to assimilate and become more natural looking. You can see they're a bit stringy and curly, and they actually go straight up, which is new. My hair in the front used to actually grow downwards. This is how it is when I wake up. It goes straight up.
Well, I hope this will not stay, because if they're going too much straight up, that's a sign of high angles, and in such case it's not that optimal, because that can also cause you trouble with styling. If you have fine hair and it's going up and you are used to styling it to the side, and then you want to comb it to the side, then it's always going to go up, and then you will be able to break it to the side. So you actually need much longer hair for this to be able to style to the side, because if the hair is like his length or my length, it's going to be hard to break it to decide if the angles are bad, because it's going to want to go always up, and that's kind of bad. And if the wind blows, it can always kind of mess your hair much more easily and put it out of order, put it out of your normal hairstyle if these angles are high. So that's something that you should pay attention to.
Which is interesting, but I think I'd rather have them go up. It's all good. I think it looks clean and athletic, and I love it. The one concern I do have is if you look very closely at the actual line, there seems to be like a mostly majoritively uniform area, which is most of the transplant, and then there's almost like a bit of a distance and then another small sparse line of hairs. And I'm not sure what their strategy is with that. Maybe it'll just make it...
I mean, this is just a sign of uneven hair regrowth to me still, but if it's gonna stay very regular like that, even over the month number 5 and 6, and there's not gonna be new hair coming in between these two, lines, then it's gonna look very weird, and I don't know what their strategy was with that. Hopefully it's gonna kind of fill out, and in such case, it could be an issue. But what I like at least is that there seem to be a line of single grafts, like the thinner line that he's referring to that is ahead, that is in front. It's actually a line where I prevalently see singles. That is a good sign, because that will mean more naturalness for his hairline. But yeah, we'll see how this thing will work out. Now, what he mentioned that it's also happening across the whole hairline, so it's not just like an unevenness on one side, but it's kind of across the whole hairline. So we'll see if this will correct. Hopefully it will. Wish him all the best.
But it is all the way across the front of the hairline, and I'm hoping that it all works out and doesn't look like there's a random line in front of my hairline, but that's the only thing that I've noticed so far, so hopefully it evens out.
Absolutely. From the distance, not going to be that visible.
Sure. Some people are also probably wondering what I'm doing to maintain my hair. Well, I am taking minoxidil. I'm using minoxidil foam every single day. I just do it right after the shower. I spray it right in here and then kind of massage it into my scalp. This just helps.
Okay, so he's using it on the existing hair to keep that existing hair thick and, keeps it from falling out further. Again, short-term strategy, long-term, if you have at least like medium aggressive hair loss, which he might not have for now. His hair loss is kind of slow in my opinion for now, since he already started experiencing it with 19, he's 25. But still, for you guys, most of you guys may not be so lucky, and this thing may start thinning out sooner than you think after your first surgery. The contrast starts to be more obvious between the existing thinner and transplanted thicker hair. So you may need actually the finasteride or 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, topical or oral, to keep that hair thicker, because minoxidil may not be and will not be enough.
Maintain the hair and natural hair that you already have. I do have finasteride in my cabinet, which I got prescribed, but I haven't started using it yet because I'm just a little nervous. I have some friends that have had some negative side effects, so I don't know.
Yeah, I understand. When I was 25, I actually also was skeptical about finasteride. I still felt I'm too young to use it. With what I know today, I would have started with low-dose topical back in the days at least. I started with finasteride when I was 27, I think, or 28, 27. But yeah, I think topical will be a potential suggestion from my side. At least do something. But again, for other guys who have more aggressive hair loss, they should already get on medication way before the hair transplant to test their response to the medication, whether they are even suitable users for the medication, and this will help them better understand and estimate whether they can and should even get a hair transplant. Because so if they are not good fits for the treatment, getting a hair transplant, very short-term solution, may not be even problematic later when it falls out further and you have that island of hair on the front. Yeah, it's not a nice thing. You need to do pigmentation, maybe some lasering off. Yeah, it's not a good thing. If you're getting your hair back, you should think more long-term, and wanting to keep it long-term. So that was it, guys. I will keep you updated on Brad's. For all of you guys who are interested in me consulting you one-on-one, helping you with your hair transplant and hair loss protocol, helping you get your hair back the right way, sharing with you all the pros and cons, do's and don'ts of getting a hair transplant and maximizing your hair regrowth as well as hair transplant success, assisting you with hair transplant clinic choice. Make sure to check out the link in the video description below where you can learn more about my one-on-one consulting services. I will be happy to help you out in person, as I have already done with hundreds of my clients over the last 3 years. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Take care.